thank you everybody for doing this. You know, this is the first time we have ever had an all women's media panel, and it's very cool. I love looking at your faces. It's definitely a different format than we've ever done anything like this before. And, you know, thank you for the opportunity, and fire away.
Okay, so we are going to start with Stephanie Chase.
Oh, you're muted.
Unmute. Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this today. This is really exciting. So I just wanted to ask, since you started working with WWE, how over the years have you seen WWE's female fan base grow and change?
Absolutely. So I've grown up in WWE, so you know, I have a little bit of a different story than your typical executive, but I have seen our female fan base grow to now nearly 40% throughout time. So I've seen, you know, our fan base evolve into being more families. More families actually watch WWE programming together than any major sports franchise in the States, the only exception being the NFL. I've seen, you know, obviously the women's evolution that I'm going to talk about, where our women are now regularly featured as the main events on our biggest programming. I have seen, you know, little girls now in our audience wearing all of the merchandise of our women, of our female superstars, and little boys, by the way. So I've definitely seen a huge growth in our business. And also across multiple different platforms. Now we have the Bella's YouTube channel that I believe is over 2 million subscribers now. You know, we have, of course, the reality shows, Total Divas and Total Bellas. The Bella twins just gave birth, by the way, for those of you who don't know. The identical twins, the Bella twins, both gave birth to baby boys within 24 hours of each other. So it's just, their story is quite remarkable. And, you know, we also have our first ever female general manager in Latin America, and we just brought on our first female CFO.
And so on the creative side, do you have many women in the writers' room? And when you're hiring more writers, do you look to better represent women?
Absolutely, yes. We do not have enough, though. We do not have enough female writers in the writers' room. We are actively working on that. And yes, there is a dedicated focus to how we tell our women's storylines in the show, but we can always be better.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie.
Great stuff. Thank you, Steph. I think next we need to go to Paige. Paige, you're in Australia. Is that correct?
I am, yes. Hello. Thank you so much for doing this, Stephanie. What a thrill. It's a great honor. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, thank you, Paige.
I wanted to touch on the Australian talent that's really sort of taken over the WWE. We've got Rhea Ripley, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce. How have you seen their rise through the ranks recently and to the stardom that they are at the moment?
You are correct. We do have a significant amount of star power in our Australian and New Zealand based talent. Rhea Ripley is one of my personal favorites right now, her character. She just comes on, she's so strong, she's so badass. You know, she's just going to take on the world, and I have no doubt it'll be in short order that she regains the NXT Women's Championship, though she is not a part of that match at TakeOver. Let's see, and, you know, Dakota Kai challenging Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver. I realize I'm conflating TakeOver, which is our big event on Saturday with our NXT brand, and then, of course, there's SummerSlam on Sunday. And you mentioned Peyton Royce and Billie Kay and the Iconics, and they're just doing a tremendous job. I'm wondering what's in the water over there, but I want more of it.
They're doing well, the Aussie girls, that's for sure. I just wanted to ask as well, how impressed have you been with the transition of females in the sport of wrestling in the WWE, particularly over the last 10 to 20 years? I know there'd been, you know, perhaps a few stigmas and that sort of thing around it initially, but as you said earlier, the WWE has done such a wonderful job from a branding perspective to really boost its numbers into families and into young girls that are coming through. But really, what are your thoughts on the last sort of 10 to 20 years of the WWE, particularly having grown up in it?
So I'm going to tell the story of the women's evolution because it's something I'm incredibly proud of in our business. I think that, throughout the years, women's wrestling, to your point, we've seen it ebb and flow, right? And there was, in the Attitude Era, it was thought that our women were a nice to have, not a need to have, right? They weren't featured as the main events. They were, in various other roles. And when actually it was my husband, Paul Levesque, also known as Triple H, who is responsible for the training and development of all of our future stars, he started recruiting elite female athletes as well as men. And he started training the women the same as the men, giving them the same amount of match time on television at our live events. And like anything else, the more reps you have, the more practice you have, the better you're going to get. And these women, when given the opportunity, absolutely started to steal the show every time, to where our fans started chanting, "This is wrestling," and "Women's wrestling." And then you go to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. That is our flagship programming. And in 2015, we had, at the time, we branded our division as the Divas division, a match that lasted all of 30 seconds in a 3-hour show, which was unfortunately the norm. And our fans had had enough. And they started a hashtag called Give Divas a Chance that trended worldwide for 3 days, specifically calling for better matches, more athleticism, better storylines, better character development. And we strategically responded in the biggest way we could. Our chairman and CEO, Vince McMahon, also my dad, said, "We hear you, keep watching, hashtag Give Divas a Chance." And then on our biggest platform, which is called WrestleMania, it's like our World Cup, our Super Bowl. We had over 101,000 people in attendance at AT&T Stadium. It was WrestleMania 32. And WWE Hall of Famer Lita went out and introduced the rebranding of the Divas division to the women's division. She unveiled a new championship belt that was more akin to the men's, but still very feminine, and announced that our women would now be called superstars, same as the men. And since that time, our women have been regularly headlining our, biggest pay-per-view shows, including WrestleMania. We had our first ever women's match in Abu Dhabi, which took us 6 years to be able to have. And during that match, the audience of both men and women started chanting, "This is hope," which is not your typical WWE chant. They were chanting, "This is hope." And then we had not one, but 2 women's matches in Saudi Arabia where the chant simply became, "This is awesome." And that's really where we are today in terms of the evolution of women in our business. And I couldn't be more proud of them. I couldn't be more proud of our fans, and of course of WWE.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Thank you for being up late, Paige. Next, we are going to India and Glinda Alves, who is from Panache magazine, which is the entertainment and lifestyle title from India Times and the Economic Times. So over to you, Glinda.
Very nice to meet you, Stephanie. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to do this. I have a quick question for you. As a top boss, and given the current situation of the pandemic, you've had to change the way you work. So how has it been keeping yourself motivated? And also as a top boss, how does it feel to keep your team motivated? What do you have to do?
A lot of Zoom calls. But really, I do think that it's been such an interesting time, in the world. And there are so many people who are struggling. We're really fortunate as an organization that we have been able to continue to move on. Of course, we did have to furlough a number of our employees, and that's really hard for any business, right? Because it's not just a business, it's the people that make the business. I think communication is really important during times of a pandemic, during rough times. I think FaceTime is important, literally seeing people, whether they're, at home with kids running around, or, I'm looking at Caroline up there, and her dog was, she's in the upper right corner of my screen, but her dog with his or her tongue sticking out was so cute. I have two dogs. But seeing that, right? Like seeing people in their real life environment, I think connects us in a very different way. And the leadership really of my father of WWE continuing to drive forward, right? That we never stopped producing our television shows. We produced WrestleMania. It was supposed to be at Raymond James Stadium in front of, over 80,000 people roughly. And we wound up producing it at our performance center, which is essentially a warehouse that, we dressed up in front of no fans or anyone. But we never stopped producing our content, and we've pivoted as an organization. And I think that it's speaks to the importance of leadership, the importance of communication, the importance of decision making, and of driving forward, staying true to your core values and your mission while reimagining your business. And just while we're talking about, our television schedule, we're actually really excited because now again, we're pivoting and we're about to go into a residency, which is something we've never done before, at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. And we have something that we're calling Thunderdome, which you will see as a part of SummerSlam. And it allows us, we're going to have various levels of virtual LED boards where we're going to have our fans live, interacting and engaging, similar to what the NBA is doing, only a little bit different because of the arena setting. It allows us also to have pyro and, lighting and lasers in places where we never could before because there are live people there. So it's going to give us the opportunity to really bring the spectacle back to WWE. Yes, because spectacle is a huge part of who we are and what we are, and we've been missing that.
Okay.
Long answer. I'll try to get my answer shorter. I apologize, guys.
Was that two, Glinda? Did you have your two already? Yeah, you did. Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Glinda. Thank you for joining us so late there. Now, we're going to make our first of two stops to Spain now. We'll start with Daphne from Marca. Marca being biggest national sports newspaper in Spain. Daphne, over to you.
Hi, Stephanie. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. I'm so honored to be here with you in the interview because it's, as a fan and as a wrestler, that is just like a blessing for me. So the questions that I have for you, the first one is, what is the next step for the women's division in the WWE? I mean, like a second pay-per-view of Evolution or a third Mae Young Classic?
Yes, well, obviously our schedule really changed this year, given everything with COVID. I think in terms of what's next for the women's division, one of my personal goals is true parity in terms of numbers, right? I would love to see the roster be 50-50. I'd love for that, really equal representation. Also, in terms of special events like Evolution, yes, I want to see a second women's Evolution. It was incredibly successful the first time around. Absolutely another Mae Young Classic. Not only is it great programming, but it's also an incredible recruiting tool for us, to bring in women from all over the world and to give them an opportunity and a chance. We've actually signed, many women from the Mae Young Classic, and I'm not sure that we would have ever even known about them if it weren't for that event. So I think that the answer is yes to all in terms of opportunities to showcase these women with special event programming and parity, on the roster.
Cool.
I also want to get it to a place where our women competing in the main event is not a big deal. It's just the way it is, right? That it's not something we have to talk about. It's just, it's just the norm, right? Women and men. I mean, I want it to equal representation.
Yeah, that's cool because I have the opportunity to be in the main event. It's just like an amazing thing. So for me, it's when I saw it in the first time in WrestleMania will be amazing for me. It was such an important thing. So then I wanted to ask, what are the qualities that you are searching for on the future female stars?
So they need to be, elite athletes. They need to be leaders. When we recruit women and men, and this would be the same answer, by the way, for men. But we actually wear them down physically at first. And then what we're looking for in the next couple days are the people who lift one another up. We're not looking for those who quit and give up, of course. And we're not looking for those who are trying to keep other people down. you know, this business is not an individual business, right? It's a dance in there. You know, you're partners when you're in the ring, even if you're not literal partners, even though you're opponents, you're telling a story. So it really is the entertainment side. And, you know, I think you need emergent leaders, and you want good human beings. You want people who have a ton of charisma. That's the it factor, people who are going to connect with the crowd. And that's sort of something you either have or you don't. That's tough to teach, you know, and people who really are passionate. You really want to have passionate, hardworking, driven people. That those are the best, who are going to help each other and lift one another up.
That's fantastic. So, and just for Anne, as we've seen in the past, we saw another athletes from another sports being part of WWE. So, are there currently any female sports stars on your radar for your future?
I have a lot of female sports stars on our radar, but none that I can announce, and some that are right now working for other professional leagues. So I don't want to get them in trouble. But yes, the answer is I would love to bring in as many female stars, sports athletes as we possibly can, you know, that want to be here and can contribute. I think it would be tremendous.
Nice. So thank you so much again for reply our questions.
Thank you.
Sneaky move there, Daphne, squeezing in a third question, but we don't mind. It was a good one.
Oh, she wasn't even aware she was doing it.
Yeah, Daphne, good question. Good question. Good third. Nobody else get any hints there. We are next going to go. Let's go to the Middle East. We know it's hot over there. So we will go to Evelyn. So Evelyn is from The National. The National is the leading English language newspaper over there in the UAE. And Evelyn is a massive WWE fan. You've been at so many events, I've lost count. But of course, you're supremely objective and professional, so it doesn't matter, you're a fan. Over to you, Evelyn.
I mean, I got to go to Saudi, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was really nice, the last Saudi event in February. Also, I just want to say hi to everybody here. And Stephanie, hello.
Hi.
So, no, were you going to say something? I feel like I've already cut you off.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to ask what it was like actually being there, because I wasn't there for the women's matches.
So I've lived in I'm from the U.S., but I've lived in the Middle East now for 6 years. And it was my first time in Saudi Arabia just to go to the event. It was really interesting. It was really great. There were a lot of kids there. There were a lot of little girls too as well. And it was really nice because I think that was the match with Bailey and Naomi. And it was like the first, I think, female title match. And it was really great. Everyone seemed really into it. And I can and The Undertaker, he's very popular in Saudi. In case you didn't
He's popular everywhere.
But anyway, sorry. I feel like I'm already wasting time without a question. But my first question was actually more related to the pandemic. And I was really curious to know how the pandemic has kind of changed the way that the WWE has looked to connect with audiences. Because obviously without having fans at events, it can kind of, I don't want to say it seems any way, but it's a different way to needing to tell a story and whatnot. I just wasn't sure if there were any.
Absolutely. So from a number of different standpoints, we had to pivot, because of the pandemic. And the event is definitely not the same without our fans. It's okay to say it. We all know it when we watch it. There's nothing better than a WWE fan, and they add so much to the atmosphere. They're certainly a part of our show, and we're very anxious to get them back. I think the Thunderdome aspect of what I was talking about is one of the ways, I think probably the biggest way that we've evolved. But just, going back to having to take, as I said before, WrestleMania stadium show and produce it from a warehouse. That was an interesting learning. My hat goes off to all of our talent, who are having to perform day in and day out. It's like a Broadway show without an audience. It's very challenging. We rely on that real-time feedback. And, our talent have done such a tremendous job. Really, they have. We've had to evolve our testing protocols, especially as testing became more readily available. We've been constantly evolving that process to make sure that we are, up to speed on the latest possible opportunities and the best possible opportunities to protect the health and safety of our talent and crew, everybody who is around those shows and events. Let's see, technology wise, we've learned a lot about our audio and how we can enhance the environment, by bumping up the audio. And our fans are giving us real-time feedback on that as well. you know, whether it's through social or through focus groups, you know, when it's too much or not enough, or, you know, it didn't feel quite real, whatever that is. And I think it's given us an opportunity to really engage with our fans, produce more content on digital platforms. Our viewership on YouTube is up like 70% globally. I'm being given a note here. Yeah, well, of course, we launched the free version of WWE Network, you know, TikTok, various documentaries, and those were all things that we had in the works. Thank you, Matt, who you guys can't see over here. And let's see, what else? I had something on the tip of my tongue, but it really does, you know, allow us more of an opportunity to test and learn, and rely on our audience to give us that real-time feedback in terms of what's working and what isn't working.
Do I get one more question, Dan? Okay. So I'm just wondering, through the last 6 months, obviously there have been some more maybe pre-taped matches like the Boneyard match, Money in the Bank.
Yes, that's where I was going.
Was there any match that you particularly really loved, or you just thought, even though we did plan it this way, it turned out amazing on television? Or just anything
yes,
that you,
the Boneyard match is one of those examples. So another pivot that we made is in terms of cinematic matches, which is what Evelyn is talking about. And that's where, you know, we take the match and produce it sort of out of the ring. And the Boneyard match in particular, you know, it was scored by Metallica. It was The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in this sort of, you know, very different type of location. It was like a 20-minute Hollywood action scene. It was just incredible. And that has been definitely one of my favorites still, even though there's been a number of them. That's still my favorite one. My husband also produced it, and it was The Undertaker. So, you know, it has a little extra for me, but.
and it produced a great meme. So there's always that.
Oh yes, there's always that.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Evelyn. And James, just a heads up, we'll come to Canada after the next stop. So in case you want to get ready with your record button. But next we will go to Spain again with Sonia. So Sonia is from Mundo Deportivo. I've got to say, Mundo Deportivo have been huge supporters of WWE over the past few years, alongside Marca, one of the biggest national daily sports newspapers there in Spain. So thank you, Mundo. And Sonia, over to you.
Oh, I can't hear you, Sonia.
You might need to shout, Sonia.
I don't think your headphones are plugged in, because it doesn't say you're on mute, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, Sonia, you're very quiet. In fact, you're silent. Sonia, while you're working on that, no pressure, let's go and do Canada right now, just while you're working that out. Don't worry, we'll work on it, and we'll go to Caroline right now. So James, if you want to press your record button. So we're going to go to Caroline at Sportsnet. Steph, you know Caroline.
Yes.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. This is so awesome. I'm from Canada, so hello from Canada. And hopefully once the world goes back to normal, we can do this in person, because I think this is so great. Steph,
that sounds like an awesome idea.
Right? And even my dog joined, and he doesn't normally do that. So thank you guys so much. Stephanie, thank you for your time. I just wanted to know from your perspective, how much of your own thought, heart, and passion has gone into making the women's division equal to the men's division over the years?
It's been a focus of mine, you know, really ever since I was a little girl. And, you know, I would wonder why there was only one women's match, if any. It's something that I've believed in my entire life. It now, as the mom of 3 daughters, you know, and I look at the world, you know, through their eyes, and I want them to have every opportunity and know that every opportunity is available to them, no matter what they want to pursue, as long as they're willing to work really hard at it. And the opportunity to support all of the women who have ever stepped foot inside what we call the squared circle, and in some way represent the unsung heroes, those women who we'll never hear about, you know, all over the world, who sacrifice and travel and put their hearts and souls and bodies on the line, oftentimes, you know, leaving family at home, leaving children at home, whatever that may be, just to try to make a name for themselves. And I can't imagine how hard it has been throughout the years, especially for those women, on the independent circuits. And it's absolutely a passion of mine, and has been.
Amazing.
And will always be.
We see these incredible female superstars compete inside of the ring, but what's their camaraderie like outside of the ring, and maybe even in the locker room, and how important is that to the company?
I think, for women in general, there's often a stigma that we don't support one another, that we're jealous of each other, that we backbite. And I think, in some degree, right, those things happen sociology wise, but it's when we come together, that's when we can really make a difference. And I think that you do see that in the WWE locker room. You see women supporting women. And of course, everyone wants to be the star, everyone wants to have their position, but you do feel a sense of family, particularly when our live events are up and running, because you're on the road with everybody. You're on the road over 100 days a year, and these women and these people become your family. And the more we support one another, the better we all rise.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Caroline, as your TV, take another one. As long as it's a general question and not like how awesome is ice hockey, Canada.
Sorry, Dan. Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
So take another question. As this is for TV, keep it general. As long as it's not why is ice hockey so amazing? Like just a Canada question. So,
Okay.
What do you have against ice hockey, Dan?
Yeah, I know. I'm good. I'm good with it being a football team, Dan. I know you like your soccer. Steph, do you have a female superstar in particular that you think of that is a trailblazer for the next generation?
Oh, there are so many. Yes, there really are so many, and I hate to narrow it down to anyone, because they all deserve, to be recognized. But I think, if you watch NXT TakeOver on Saturday and SummerSlam on Sunday night, you will get a glimpse into some of these incredible women who are no doubt going to blaze a trail for future generations.
Thank you so much. This is so great. Thank you.
Oh,
and I love your dogs, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes. They're one's 230 pounds and one's 200 pounds now.
I grew up with bull mastiffs, so I'm very aware. They're big, gentle giants, and I love them. And your dogs are so cute. So awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And they call it puppy love, right? Sonia, we're struggling to get online. So Joel knows her questions, but we have somebody on the phone, which is Maria. So Maria is from a huge news and entertainment and sport website in Colombia. The first time we've had Colombia, I believe, on a call like this. So Maria, if you can hear us, there you are. How about that?
Hello.
Let's go to Maria.
Hello everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. My question is, what is the advice for all the girls and women in the companies that became a leadership, became an idol, but to step by step to in all the big companies in the world like you?
Oh, so I think that first and foremost, and it's really just advice for women and how to grow in whatever venue they want to be in, right? Whether that's sports or business, entertainment, etc. And I think, education is incredibly important. I think networking is really important, having that support structure. Anyone you meet, make a relationship, make a contact. You can't be afraid. You can't hold back as journalists. I'm sure none of you do. But, you have to make sure that you reach your hand out and you introduce yourself and give a firm handshake and look people in the eye. I think confidence is really important, not arrogance, but confidence. And even if you're not feeling confident, make it appear as though you are. I think it's important to have a voice in the room. Don't speak if you don't have something, important that you want to say. Don't speak just to speak, but have a voice, say something meaningful in the room, and never be afraid. Everybody's just a person, no matter their gender. Nobody's better than anybody else. whether they're the boss, whether they're a celebrity, whether they're an influencer, no one's better than anyone else. Just level set that for yourself. You belong in any room, know that you belong, and stand up for yourself. There's also, some people who would say, oh, well, that all sounds great, but I don't feel comfortable. I think another thing we all have to get is to learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because life is rarely super comfortable. It really protects you in this little bubble, life is uncomfortable. So if we can just embrace that and own it and move forward and own the moment and be you. I think also bring your whole self to whatever it is you do. Don't feel like you have to hold back. Bring yourself, because that is your superpower that nobody else has.
Okay, my last question. What is your femme idol in your life?
Oh gosh, it's funny. I don't have one. I have many, and some of them are past and some of them are here. A couple of different, people who I really look up to is Eleanor Roosevelt. She has so many different incredible perspectives, right? For example, do something you're afraid of every day, right? And what that means essentially is live life to the fullest, right? Look at fear as opportunity. If you're feeling fearful about, something that could potentially get you to the other side, you need to understand what that fear is and find a way to flip your perspective. Look at it as a chance, as an opportunity. Because if you never take the risk, you're never going to get anywhere. Sure, you'll stay where you are and maybe you're happy where you are. But if you really want to get somewhere else, you have to take that risk or else you'll never know. Maya Angelou is another one of my idols. One of her expressions that I truly believe in, and I won't quote it exactly, but that people will never remember what you said. They'll never remember what you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel, right? And as journalists, that's what you all have the opportunity to do in a bigger way than a lot of people, right? Because you tell stories, you connect with people, you make them feel, and that's what moves the world to action.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Maria. Great to have you on there. So, Sonia, no pressure, but this is your moment. We're gonna come back to you for the last questions. Now, let's see. Can we hear you?
Oh, she froze.
So, what we're going to do
in Sonia's absence, I do have a question from Sonia. So Sonia would like to know, will we in the future see Stephanie McMahon in the ring again?
Oh God, I hope not. You never know what can happen in WWE, but I certainly, don't think that I have the athletic capability to hang in the ring with some of our female performers. And Ronda Rousey broke my arm the last time I was in there, so I think it's best I just stay out.
And as a follow-up, you mentioned her then, talking about returning superstars, do you think we should expect any kind of return from the likes of Ronda Rousey in the future? I know it's something that everyone would love to see.
It's certainly something that we have talked about and that she plans on doing. What the future holds, you never know. But, I can't wait to see Ronda back in WWE. Even though she broke my arm.
Fair point, Stephanie. Fair point. Sonia, was that good for you? Yeah, we got it.
Oh,
fantastic.
So sorry, Sonia.
So we've gone around the room, but we still have about 5 minutes. So Steph, if you're good to hang with us, we can do this as a quick fire because we won't have a chance to get everybody again. We'll go old school. Whoever's hand I see go up first. Glenda, you were ahead of the curve there. Glenda, you're in. You've got one question. Let's go.
Okay, quick question. What does feminism mean to you in a nutshell?
I think feminism is about women supporting other women. I think it's about being strong. I think it's about being equal. And I think it's about providing opportunity, for all.
Caroline was next.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
undo you. There you go.
Thank you. Hi, Dan. Thank you again. Stephanie, can you quickly talk about the impact that Ronda Rousey had when she came in on the women's division on WWE, on the universe, just everything in general? Because I'm just, you know, such a supporter of hers, and I thought that she did an incredible job.
So am I, and she had a tremendous impact on our business. You know, we have an incredible women's division, but what Ronda also brings, not only is she an Olympic medalist, not only was she the first ever UFC women's champion and first ever female inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, but she brings star power from outside of our world, and she brought an audience from outside of the WWE with her. And then her natural, I mean, there's nobody who has more natural athletic ability and charisma and work ethic than Ronda. And I think she elevated the game for all of our female performers and male performers. You know, I just can't wait to get her back. Hopefully that happens.
What did she say to you when she found out she broke your arm?
Well, she didn't really break my arm. But that was all a part of the plan. But, you know, it was Ronda who really wanted to finish the open-ended storyline with her and I that had started at WrestleMania 31 when The Rock brought her in the ring, because I slapped The Rock and I said, you get to step in, Dwayne. You know, what are you going to do to a woman? I play the villain. I play the baddie. And then he said, well, I tell you what, I would never hit a woman, but I know somebody who would. And the audience knew Ronda was there, and they started to come with this chant, Ronda's gonna kill you. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect. And I was looking around at the audience, and then here comes Ronda in the ring, and it was like, But that was then, you know, about 2 years before she actually made her debut in WWE. And she's the one who really wanted to close the loop in the story with me. And it was such an honor to be in that position. I mean, what a privilege, really, to be in the ring at WrestleMania with Ronda in her first match, teaming with my husband, you know, against Ronda and Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist in his own right.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's not intimidating at all for me, by the way.
Paige was next. I saw a hand from Paige.
Hi, sorry. Thanks so much again, Dan. Steph, I'm just wondering, what do you see as challenges for the brand in the next sort of, you know, the short term, the next sort of 2 to 5 years for WWE and the associated, I guess, everybody that's associated with the brand?
Well, I guess, you know, the return to live events really is our biggest challenge right now. You know, when are we going to be able to get fans back into the arena? But in terms of growth opportunities, you know, the ability to put our performance centers in key markets all around the world, really develop and grow those localized brands, create NXT India, you know, NXT Middle East, you know, all over the world. Right now we have NXT UK, and we want to really replicate that model and continue to grow internationally. I think, you know, again, from an opportunity standpoint, content really is becoming more and more of a focus for us, and the different types of content and partnerships that we can have. We did, the main event was a movie we did with Netflix with Kofi Kingston, and The Big Show is a cute sitcom with The Big Show also on Netflix. And those two shows were actually in the top 10 most watched shows during their debut week, which was pretty exciting for us, and also encouraging, demonstrating that the audience is there. We also have partnerships with A&E for biographies, and, you know, multiple different studios with projects that are in development. So it's an exciting slate, and we look forward to continuing to grow the business across all of our lines of business.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing more Australians there too. Thanks again, Stephanie.
Absolutely. Thank you. Looking forward to coming back to Australia.
Okay, last question. Who wants it? Stephanie, I saw you there. Let's finish what you started. Over to you, Steph.
We started and ended.
Hi, Stephanie again. It's been 2 years since Becky Lynch called herself the man and started on this great run. If we never see her wrestle again, what is her legacy in WWE, and how important was she for the history of women in the company?
Oh, Becky Lynch is a key component to the women's evolution. I think she was the biggest star in our programming, male or female, you know, certainly in the last couple of years. the most interest around her. Again, not just because she's a woman, but because she is the most interesting character that people wanted to see. Calling herself the man, I thought was so clever. It really was her idea. And, you know, it's funny because some women were very against it. Like, why do you have to call yourself the man? Why can't you be the woman? But she just didn't take it, you know, too literally. The whole point was to turn that nomenclature on its ear, right? Because everyone says, oh, the most successful person in the room is the man. Well, why can't the man be a woman? And, you know, she was just plain spoken, incredibly charismatic, super talented in the ring, and, you know, miss her dearly, but very excited for her and Seth Rollins and their baby on the way. So that's one of the most beautiful things about being a woman, is that we actually have that opportunity, right? And I think as the world continues to change and grow, you know, it opens up more opportunities for us to both have families and still pursue our careers. So I think Becky Lynch is certainly one of the biggest stars in WWE history. Her legacy is cemented, and you know, really hope to see her back.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Oh, thank you guys. This was awesome. Really appreciate the time and the opportunity. Thank you.